Welcome, mages, to today's Duskmourn House of Horror Top 10 Most Expensive Cards in the set. Now, this is the soon-to-be newest Magic the Gathering set coming out that's going to be hitting standard very, very soon. And it's a set that really does, it looks very intriguing and a lot of people are excited about this. We've only just had Bloomborough, it feels like, but we're already moving on to Duskmourn. Now, in this set, there's a lot of different types of cards, and what we're basically going to be doing in here is looking at the regular cards. There's no serialized cards in this set as well, which is, I don't know, let me know what you think about that. But there's a lot of different card treatments in this, which is why I'm sticking to the ones that hopefully are a lot easier for you to pull. We're getting from the regular packs. There's cards like double exposure card treatment cards, Japanese showcase styles, with fractured foils. We've got textured foil cards. We've got paranormal frame cards, lurking evil cards, mirror monster cards, extended art, borderless art, and traditional foils. So, there is so many different types in this set, which is good and bad at the same point. I mean, I love it from the art perspective, but so many different types of cards that you can pull of the same card. If you can start a discussion of that down in the comments, let me know what you think about that. Keep it nice and clean. Don't be too angry. This is just a fun video, but I know a lot of Magic the Gathering players are always intrigued and very eager to find out what the prices are just before the sets are released, so you know what you want to pull from a money finance standpoint in your packs. So without further ado, we're going to get on to looking at these top 10 cards. All the prices are from my card sponsors, Card Market. If you want to get any of these cards coming up futurely, you can pre-order some potentially, but obviously they're not due for release just yet, but you can get obviously all your other types of cards in there as well. So we are going to be looking at number 10, and it's around 787. It is Hauntswood Shrieker. Now, I will say, a lot of these prices differ to those in America that I've seen as well. You're going to get some good deals over there, so prices, some of them might, there's some real differences in some in the pre-order prices, but these, we're getting some real bargains, it seems, over here, especially in Europe and UK for sure at the moment on some of them. So, Hauntswood Shrieker, 1 double green, mythic card, 3/3 Beast Mutant. When the Shrieker attacks, you manifest dread. So, lots of new mechanics in this set as well. This is look at the top 2 cards you library, put one on the battlefield, face down, face down as a 2/2 creature, and the other into your graveyard. Turn it face up anytime for its mana cost if it's a creature card. And you can pay 2 to reveal target face down permanent. If it's a creature card, you may turn it face up. So you can pay 2 to reveal it as well. So you're getting good stats here. It's a 3/3 for 3 mana, non-legendary as well, so you can have multiples on these on the field. It's got good stats. We'll lean into a curve into mono green. Mono green has been okay in standard, so we'd have to look at the 3 drops and where this would fit in. But, potentially, every time it attacks, if you can get an early attack in, you get to obviously then potentially put another creature down and then flip it over. So it's an interesting card. One that I think might drop down in price. I think the price is okay. It's fairly high at the moment, as a lot of these will be. Some, obviously, majority, I will say, will probably go down, but there will be the odd ones that will stay there and then rise up from the ashes. The ones that aren't on this list as well. Some of these obviously will do as well. But let's get on to number 9. So another green card here is Tyvar the Pummeler. This is another 3-drop, but it's a legendary elf warrior. So gets into, potentially into tribalism decks of elves, which is nice. It's a 3/3. So tap another untapped creature you control. Tyvar gains indestructible at end of turn, but you have to tap it as well. So tapping another untapped creature is fine for, make this indestructible, potentially against Wraths. Doesn't get around exile, so Sunfall is still going to hit this. 3 double green, creatures you control get +X to end of X is the greatest power among creatures you control, which is a very good stat. So enough mana in the field, on the field for you. This can even be played late game. It's not going to be a dead card. If you're going in there in later turns, you can play your 3 and then you potentially, because you're playing green, will have the forest on the field. You could then pay the 5 automatically and then give everything plus 5/5 potentially with something really big. Now, this is all well and good as long as the creatures potentially have trample as well, because there's a lot of those little tokens that are going to be around in standard for a long while yet. But I see this as a pretty sweet card. Could it be a commander? It's nice. It does have that Anthem effect on there. I think, there's definitely going to be some elf decks built around Tyvar in Commander as well. But for $9.82, I think it's a fair price card and probably will hold up for a bit of Commander price as well. So coming in at £10.21 is Funeral Room Awakening Hall. So these are the new room cards. We have a couple in the top 10. This is one of them. Funeral Room, the enchantment is whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. These effects are really good. Drain and gain is brilliant. Just a way to, it's a type of win con, and for a 3 mana spell, I think that is pretty decent, to be honest. Definitely going to be going in some decks, the Drain and Gain, like with Sheoldred and everything like that. Is it good enough to be in the mono black deck? We'll have a look at Awakening Hall. Now, this does cost 8 mana. When you unlock this door, return all creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Now, you may cast each other half of that door unlocks onto the battlefield. As a sorcery, you may pay the mana cost of a locked door to get it unlocked. So, interesting card. I like this card a lot. I think it's going to be definitely played in standard a bit because the 3 mana enchantment is going to be good. 3 slots are generally quite decent though in mono black, so maybe just a couple of these in the mono black decks and type of Drain and Gain decks. I think this Funeral Room will be pretty decent to me. But let's get on to Valgavoth Terror Eater, 6 and triple black for a 9/9 flying lifelink. The ward on it is amazing. Sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. Great card. 11.45 at the moment. If a card you didn't control would be put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, you get to exile it instead. So great against graveyard theme decks. During your turn, you may play cards exiled with it. If you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to the mana value rather than paying its mana cost, which is okay if you're swinging with this and gaining 9 life when you hit your opponent or something. I just think that is really good. But it's expensive. For standard, a 9 mana card, I think is sweet. Reanimating this in is going to be probably the way to go with it with some decks. There's definitely some Orzhov reanimated decks and Golgari potentially, mixing Abzan. That will be probably cheating this into play if they can. And the art on it is amazing as well. I do love most of the art on this set as well. It just looks really good. But yeah, this is what Mythics are about. 9/9 flying lifelink, massive ward, excellent. Definitely one of my favourite cards from the set. Number 6 at 12.56 is the other room card, which is Charred Foyer Warped Space. So the initial enchantment room is 4 mana at the beginning of your upkeep. Exile the top card of your library you may play this turn. So 4 mana for this. Yeah, nice. I can see this. It's definitely going to be in Commander, I think, this card. Can it fit into some type of red decks, maybe into Rakdos, something like that, I think. Potentially going to be really good. Warped Space for 6 mana. Once each turn, you may pay 0 rather than pay the mana cost for a spell you cast from exile. So getting some really good cards into exile, then paying 0 is very good. 6 mana, not too shabby for this. We've had some big 6 mana enchantments in standard before that have done, rather well. But I'm intrigued about this one. What do you red players think of this card? It's, quite high up on the list of, number 6 at the moment, 12.56. Maybe a card potentially that will drop down a bit. But yeah, I think these enchantment rooms are going to be quite popular at start as people like these new types of cards. Coming number 5 is the only Planeswalker, Kato, Bane of Nightmares, 14.36. Ninjutsu, love it. For me, for Commander, I'm definitely going to be putting this in my Ninjutsu deck. I've seen a few ninja decks around standard every now and again, which has been okay. So what does this do? It actually has ninjutsu, return an unblocked attacker you control, put this card onto the battlefield from your hand, tapped and attacking. So during your turn, K2 has one or more loyalty counters on him. He's a 3/4 ninja and has hexproof, so can't be targeted as well, which is brilliant. +1, you get an emblem. Ninjas you control get +1/1, which is pretty sweet. No sort of, it has sort of that protection with when it comes into play being hexproof and stuff, but not making blockers or anything like that. The 0 Surveil 2, then draw a card for each opponent who lost life this turn. But while this obviously can't make blockers, it does have a semi-pseudo protection of tap target creature, put 2 stun counters on it. But if there's multiples on the field, multiple creatures on the field, the -2 is going to tap down 1, but then it's going to put its loyalty to 2 and potentially probably going to die by the time this turn 4, turn 3 will come down. But I do like this, and it's definitely going to feature in a lot of ninja decks and a lot of ninjutsu decks, I think. And straight into the commander decks that we like to play ninjutsu as well. But let's get on to number 4. And number 4 is a Mythic Screaming Nemesis 3 mana card, costing around 14.64 at the moment. It has haste, which is also, very nice for aggro decks of, Gruul and mono red. When Screaming Nemesis is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to any target. So really sweet. Even if a person blocks with a little 1/1 blocker, you're going to be able to, redirect that damage as well somewhere else. And if a player is dealt damage this way, they can't gain life for the rest of the game. So what red decks want to do? Stop life gain, getting in hasty creatures. Cracking art in this one as well. I love the fiery red in this one. 3/3 stats, really nice. Spirit, not so much going to think really going to be on the tribal deck side of this, but mono red, Gruul aggro, anything like that. I think this card is definitely going to see a place. And yeah, I can see why it's 14.64 at the moment. But probably one that will drop a tad, I'd say. Definitely, I would say. But I think we'll see a place in standard without a doubt. So now we go on to the top 3, and at 1602 is Overlord of the Baelmark. 3 double black enchantment creature, avatar horror. It's a 5/5, nice stats, non-legendary as well. Enchantment creature, so any enchantment-based decks will like this. Has impending 5, paying 2 mana, 1 and a black. If you cast this spell for its impending cost, it enters with 5 time counters and isn't a creature until the last one removed. So it has time on it where you can put it in for 2 mana on your turn 2. So remove those, then it's coming in later into the game. So when Overlord of the Baelmark enters or attacks Millfall cards, they may return a non-avatar creature card, a Planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand. So getting something back from your graveyard, people, reanimated decks, anything like that, graveyard-based decks, this will be going in there. I think it's a pretty sweet card. It's a 5/5 that's just got an ability that's nice and will favour some kinds of archetypes. But generally, I'm quite surprised it's so high. I'm probably missing something here. But I know the mill is good and you may return a non-creature or planeswalker card back to your hand. I would have liked something else on it. That's just me, 5/5. I would have liked maybe something like a bit of Death Touch or something. Don't think I'm asking too much there. But I think this one will go down in price. I'm quite surprised it's so high. Let me know what you think about that one in the comments and whether you think I'm completely wrong. But yeah, Overlord of the Baelmark is number 3. But into number 2, and it's a creature Eye. It's I would say it's the only mono blue card in there because we did have Kato as well, but this is a 5/5 for 3 mana. As an additional cost to cast a spell though, exile 6 cards from your graveyard. So it's not as easy just to put this down turn 3. It has flying, great evasion as well. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, manifest dread. So look at the top cards of your library, put 1 battle face down and a 2/2 creature, the other into your graveyard, turn it upside down. So it will help you get this down. potentially later on in the game, but I think it's a sweet, interesting card, and the Manifest Dread is a mechanic that I would look to build a deck around. What type of deck will this go in, though? 5/5 flight. I mean, it's going to be played in Commander without a doubt. A lot easier, a lot more card draw later in the game. Getting this easier to exile 6 cards from your graveyard. We can obviously mix in colours like Dimir into this, add in black and get, you know, milling self-mill and everything like that to get this going a little bit quicker. But a 5/5 flyer is generally a beat-down creature, and it's not legendary, so you can have multiple on the field, but you're going to need those cards in the graveyard for that additional cost. So, interesting card. I think it will see some standard play. I'm just not sure what type of deck it's going to be in. Maybe if there is a Manifest Dread deck going to be built, this is the one for it. But on to the final card. And if you've not heard of a former card called Meat-Hook Massacre that was very much, well, loved and hated, eventually got banned. Meat-Hook Massacre 2, 2166. Legendary enchantment, mythic rare. When it enters, each player sacrifices X creatures. So probably good that it's not, you know, it's double X rather than just a single X. Probably from a, you know, from a card aspect, I would have liked single X, but that's just me. Mono black decks are going to be playing this without a doubt. Whenever a creature you control dies, you may pay 3 life. If you do, return that card under your control with a finality counter in it. Whenever a creature opponent control dies, they may pay 3 life. If they don't, return that card under your control. I mean, this card, flavorful. Love it. Absolutely love it. Hopefully, it will last. I don't think it's as bad as previous Meat-Hook Massacre. We've got 4... you know, not double black, and like the previous Meat-Hook Massacre, this is a 4 black and double X. So Dimir control decks definitely going to be playing this as well. It's going to see us in some types of maybe Esper as well. But I love this card, and I really hope I pull one of these for not just for my standard decks on the arena. I hope I pull a lot of these, but for commander decks, for me, I would like a few of these, definitely in multiple decks. But this is the current most expensive card and the current top 10 most expensive cards for standardized cards, normal art cards in the set that's coming out, Duskmourn. Let me know what you think of these and which ones you really want to pull, which cards you're going to build around and everything like that. And, you know, any cards that you think will rise up in price as well, because there's a couple that I do think will rise up in price that aren't on this list. And I'll mention one, which is Unstoppable Slasher, which is a rare, a 2/3, very low in price at the moment on card markets, at around £2.5, £3. So probably a good time to get this if you want it. Zombie decks are obviously... people like playing zombie decks as well. When this deals combat damage to a player, they lose half their life rounded up, and it has Death Touch, non-legendary, so multiples on the field trying to get that interaction going. When it dies, if it had no counters on it, return to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control with 2 stun counters on it. So this is a card for me that I think will definitely go up in price. I think it's already quite more expensive in America. I'm not too sure. So let me, we have a lot of American viewers on here, or if it's more expensive in your country, just let me know. And that's another good thing. Let me know where you're watching from. But this for me is going to be my card that I think will go up from its current price, which is around £3. So around $4. I think this is the one for the finance for me. Watch it drop to like 20 pence. But no, I think it's a really good card. But just want to say thanks for watching today's video. If you're still here at the end, you're an absolute legend, and give me a hell yeah in the comments. Thank you. If you'd like to support me further, go and check out the Total MTG Patreon and become one of these lovely Patreons. The Total MTG Army. Thank you very much for that. You lot take care, and I'll see you on the next video.